Welcome back to Fireside Friday.
Welcome back. I feel like
smiling
I'm
again.
on a thing of news round, you know, like when we sat like this.
News round.
Yeah, do you know like when they do that with papers and you sat, feel like I'm sat, and welcome to this
Welcome
episode
back.
of News Round.
Daisy's sat on the tripod. She's like, I'm not coming on YouTube today.
You come in, you
Come
want to
on.
come up here. Come on.
I'm going to go on a bit of a rant. But not what you think I'm going to rant about. So let's address what happened in Grimsby first of all. So basically what happened, I've got a couple of theories. Either we'd been filming and somebody had overheard us and then followed us, or maybe somebody were just walking past. She's playing a game. I don't really know. And I think he said something like, who do you think you're filming, or what you're filming for, or something like that. And basically what had happened is, came at me quite aggressive and then he shoved the camera into my chest basically and walked off mumbling something. And so it really shook us both up. Obviously it did, it really shook us up. But that's not the point. That's not what I want to rant about. These things happen. Do you know what I mean? When you vlog in and stuff, these things are bound to happen out there from time to time. It doesn't make it okay, but they're bound to happen.
It's not something that's happened to us before, and it was a
Nah,
shock.
it
It really
was.
was a shock, because it was just, you know, that's why I kind of shouted and just reacted without it. You know, obviously when you're filming, you're thinking all the time about how you're responding, but I kind of just reacted because you're not thinking at that moment, are you? You
No,
just, you know, I was
you
quite
sort of
proud of myself
freeze.
that I didn't use bad language, to be honest. But it was.
It
I
wasn't
think
what it was.
it wasn't what it was, and we've taken a bit of time, and we feel all right now. And what we don't want over anything else is for people to panic about doing van life, because that is the first time
that's
that anything's
completely,
ever.
and that we're vlogging a town.
Yeah,
it
it's
were
not to do
completely
with van
different to
life.
van
It's
life.
because we're vlogging, and you know, people misinterpret that sometimes, that you're filming them even though you're not filming them. So, but yeah.
But no, what I want to rant about, and what really came across, and I think a lot of you noticed it as well in the video, was not just Grimsby, but other towns like Grimsby. Like, what is going on? That's not
Yeah.
okay. Like, how these towns are left and how people are having to live in these towns is not okay, and that's not the people's fault. Like, obviously, yes, there's an element where everybody has to take a responsibility, and of course there is, and you have to look after your own town and yourselves, but it's what are we spending money on in this country?
Yeah.
Why is that town like that? Why is the people above, why are the people above not spending money on sorting places
Well, it kind of
out?
goes back to what I'd said earlier on in that vlog about the fact that, you know, that where money gets allocated, who chooses where money gets allocated? You know, it goes back to even like in Rotherham, do you know, when the kids had not heard of the fact that there'd been it was the Children's City of Culture
yeah,
for the
or
year
Children's Town of
previous.
Culture
They
or
had
something.
absolutely no idea that that had been a thing for their town. And so it's that kind of, it's when that money, you know, when something like that, when you win something like that, a big budget comes in. And so where are you deciding where you're allocating that budget? You know, people are paying the council tax, money's going into local councils. Where are you allocating that money?
Why are we sending money to other places, and we're not getting our homeless off the streets? We're not this allocated budget thing, which I get what you're talking about, but on a bigger picture that I feel strongly about is like, there's millions of pounds, isn't there? Let's just be honest. There's millions of pounds getting sent to other places, and then Grimsby, bless its heart, is there struggling. Why is that millions of pounds not going right? Let's allocate that, shall we, to Grimsby.
I do have a big thing about helping other people, and you know, and no matter where that is, you know, and I always have a thing about, if we were in need in our country and something's going on somewhere else, we would want them to help us and support us. And I get that side of it, absolutely, and I don't have an issue with that side of it, because I do think that you have to help. Everybody has to help each other, do you know? But I also think, very, very basic, and I say this all the time, don't I?
You do.
If you've got, you know, if you bring government politics and all that sort of thing, if you bring it back down to a basic level and you look at it as if that was a situation happening in your home, then you get sensible, normal, like sensible solutions that will help everybody in the long run. So if you are absolutely skint in your home and you don't have enough money to feed your children and to get rid of the damp in your house, or, you know, whatever it may be, you are not going to start going and giving all of your money to your next door neighbour who's also struggling. Because if you do that, you are not going to be in a fit state to continue to help that other neighbour, you know. So you might allocate some of your time, you might do something different, but you would help that neighbour in other ways to get yourself sorted first. And once your home's sorted, once you've got yourself back on your feet and your family's strong and your house is where it needs to be and it's at a basic level where it's meeting your needs, then you would help your neighbour.
It's simply sorting your own backyard out before you sort somebody else's out, isn't it?
That to me is what you deal with. If we deal in this country with helping out the situation that we've got on this little island that we all live on, then you get that sorted first, and then you're in a better position to help other people.
Yeah.
And also, everybody's on board then to help other people. Everybody's jumping on board going, yeah, let's help people, let's get it out there.
You can't do things while Grimsby, and it's not just Grimsby, like various endless towns in the UK that need money putting into them, and the people, do you know what I mean? Like, and then that comes from, that then comes from a place where, because there's money put into those places, like real money, I don't just mean a little budget here and a little budget there and we've set up this project to try and help these people. I mean, sort it out. Somebody get it sorted out. Get the homeless people off the streets. Why are we in the 21st century, the year 2026, and there's still people homeless on the streets?
We did it in COVID. That's my
disgusting
argument. In COVID, we got everybody off the streets. So if we did it then, why did we then put everybody back out again? And do you know they built these? I think I showed you the other week. They built these like kind of mini homes, like a tiny home. Some that actually I'd love to live in. They're really nice. They built these tiny homes in, I can't remember which city it was in. They built them in a few different places. And there was massive budget allocated to building these. It's cost hundreds of thousands of pounds to build them. And they were built for people like during COVID to house people. And then because now it's going to cost them X amount more money to put the infrastructure in place, to put water and facilities like that there, they're now going, oh, well, we can't afford to spend that extra money now. So now we're just going to sell them on at a loss. Like, that makes no sense to me. You've got halfway there. So, if you're halfway there, use the money. It is, as much as it is about the whole country, it is also down to the cities as well, though.
Yeah,
because when the cities have got some money in the pocket, why are we spending it on hundreds of thousands of pounds on fancy paving and fountains? Yeah. Spend it on what people want it to be spent on.
Exactly, on the
Ask
people.
the people.
Because then you don't get, like I say, that...
Oh, it gets me so mad.
What happened in Grimsby with that guy, that was just, it was the tip of the iceberg, wasn't it? It goes deeper than that. Situations like that go deeper than that, and that's what we kind of, I were fine, I was shook up, we were both shook up, and then we move on, we keep smiling, don't we?
But it's where that's come from, and I think from our history of our employments in the past as well.
We know.
It shows, you know that, you don't know what that person's gone through before that's happened that day.
You've got an understanding.
You don't know in their personal life and all that sort of thing. But when you add into it that they're coming out of the front door every day and they're seeing tons of rubbish everywhere, and and there are projects that people are working really hard at to try and get people back into work, or to try and provide people with things that they need. There are these little projects that go on, but they're not enough.
No, that is my point. That is my point in the UK, and this is the problem with the UK, is would we be able to sort problems out almost instantly with more money? The answer's probably yes, right? And then you see, don't you, on, like, one of my bugbears, as you all know, is fireworks, right? So what we've got is Mr. Starmer coming on telling us we're all skin and trying to do these budgets, which admittedly I don't fully understand, and I don't try to, as you know. We don't really get into politics at all on this channel because we're not that into it. But what I see from just a basic everyday person level is him coming on telling us that we're all skin, and then all these fireworks going off on New Year's Eve, and you sort of sat there on New Year's Eve as they're going off at midnight over Big Ben going, hang on a minute, I thought you said you were skin. Hang on a minute. There's Joe Bloggs sat on the street there freezing to death on New Year's Eve, and you're letting all these fireworks off.
And it's basic levels though, innit? Because I think when you're working at that level and you're not seeing things,
yeah, they've never been to Grimsby. That's the problem.
And they're working on when they're working on that level with them figures, they're just numbers on a piece of paper, and that, again, you bring it back down to your own household. If you're really struggling and you're really skint, you stop buying the expensive shampoo and you buy the supermarket own brand shampoo. You might only save 50p. You might only save 20p, but you know that all them little amounts of money add up to make sure that you get yourself out of the trouble that you're in. That's the same thing that needs to be applied to a bigger budget. And also, while we're on it, because this is something else as well, it's not just about saying, let's get everybody into a 9-to-5 job, because not everybody suits the 9-to-5 world.
No, they don't.
And there's a lot of people that would quite happily work themselves, building up their own little business, and and trying to get it to where it needs to be, and being more self-sufficient. But this country does not support self-sufficiency at all. Like, if you say you're unemployed and you want to set up your own business, within a year you have to prove that that business is what they would call how would you call it? I can't remember what word they use.
Good.
Viable. You have to
Viable.
prove that it's a viable business. So you have to prove within a year that that business is going to earn you the equivalent of a full-time job at minimum wage. Well, a lot of people's business wouldn't earn that straight away, and and it would take more than a year. But surely, if that's getting somebody motivated, it's getting them up, it's getting them doing something, it's cutting down the amount of money that the government would have to give them, because they can kind of offset it or whatever and give them different amounts depending on what they're earning. That system is in place for that first year of a business, but after that first year, that system disappears, and you have to prove every 3 months that you're showing them that your business is going to be viable. So then when you've got people that are unemployed and they want to be able to do something, you're almost discouraged from doing it.
The system does not allow or does not like people living like we do.
No.
So if you're new here and you're thinking, what are they on about? We're Emma and Reese, and we travel.
We're ranting.
As most of you know, in this van called Romany, all across the UK and Europe, and we've got our little business that supports us to do that. And so, but as a standard, the powers that be don't like people doing that, really. They don't really like people to be outside the box. And those people that don't fit, or those people like Grimsby, and I'm sorry, Grimsby, to pick on you, it's just that were the last place we went to, but there's obviously other towns. But when, a working town that was the biggest port in the world, and so the majority of people there are fishermen, fishing trawlers in the fishing trade, and that gets hit for reasons that obviously you can Google and things like that. But that gets hit and people are out of work. Like, what do them people do? Do you know what I'm getting at here? Like, it's a bit like, they wouldn't necessarily have fit in any other box at that point, because that's what they did, and probably what their dad did and their dad's dad did, and all that kind of stuff. And then to be found in a world where it's like, well, what do I do? Oh, well, you can go work in this office here, or you can do that. And they're suddenly going, do you know what I mean? And so
it doesn't.
I think
suit
the point
everybody.
is, that the system doesn't suit everybody, and so then towns like Grimsby kind of get left behind. And so we just wanted to come on and basically say that what happened in Grimsby, there's a bigger story, there's a bigger picture behind it, and a lot of you were commenting on, the fact that why are the powers that be not doing something in those situations?
Well, do you know what? You can
so
choose
that's what we wanted
when
to
something
come on
like that happens.
Have a right little rant about.
When something like that happens, you can choose to hate a place, you can choose to hate the people, you can choose to be really just angry about it and carry that with you, or you can choose to look and say, maybe there's something that needs to be done to help, and maybe just this little channel, having this little chat, might make people think about helping.
Maybe there's a counsellor sat there going, oh yeah, they've got a good point, I didn't think of that. The graffiti were a big thing, right? Get a group of kids, teach them how to do street art properly, and then give them some paints, and for crying out loud, say, that's a wall, go paint a beautiful mural. Immediately, you're doing a number of things there. That kid's bored, he's no longer bored. He obviously likes art of some fashion because he's trying to do graffiti, and all of a sudden he can do a graffiti in an artistic way that helps the town.
Yeah.
That was just off the top of my head.
And we used to have systems in place where if people were on
daft,
community orders or things like that, we would, get them to be involved in the town and putting the town back together. And then, so therefore it becomes less about punishment and more about this, we need to get you to invest back into your own town. And then they'd see the results of what they're doing. But now they're not allowed to do that because of health and safety and all the red tape. And I think we've just got into a society and into a situation where there is so much red tape going on, and there's so many obstacles to trying to do things on your own and maybe live differently.
It's basically that theory, isn't it, of like if there's one piece of rubbish, then it doesn't matter that there'll be another
Yeah.
piece of rubbish, that there'll be another piece of rubbish, and it escalates. Sort out the little things first, and it'll
Yes.
domino effect on the rest. But that's basically where we came from with Grimsby. Like we didn't come away hating the people. We came away thinking something needs to be done about this. And so that's what basically it is going to be a short, sweet Fireside Friday, is this, because yeah, we've got quite a busy kind of a lot of stuff to do and that kind of thing over the next
And we
couple
don't
of
want to
days.
keep ranting at
And
you
we
for
don't
like
want to
an
keep
hour.
ranting. We're not ranty people, we're positive people, but we're also real people, and sometimes you need to rant, and sometimes you need to stand up and say, no, this is not okay, something needs to be done
I
about
think when
it.
you feel
And
passionate about
that's it.
something, and I think we could have felt passionate about being annoyed about that situation, but instead we feel passionate about wanting something to change, and not just in that town,
No,
but in
throughout the
so
UK.
many towns, you know,
Yeah,
wanting
throughout
things
the
to
UK,
change.
councillors, towns, council, the people at the top need to do something.
We often say
about
if you just put
Britain.
an everyday person into the government, you'd find a very different situation.
I think it's me, Emma.
You know,
I think
you need to be next Prime Minister.
start commenting,
I'm
Reece,
not
for
sure
PM.
that'd work, Reece.
It would.
I'm not
look
sure
at her
that'd
face.
work.
It would. It'd be brilliant. Like, you can just imagine how good this
Custard
country
creams
would
would be statues of custard creams all over every
and the
city.
thing is the UK is beautiful. The UK is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. We know, we've looked. But it does need sorting out as well. We can't go around. And there were a few comments that sort of said, oh, you know, we prefer it when you go to nice places. And, well, we do as well. But we like to also explore, and we like to explore every aspect of the UK. And
there's nice things about every
yeah,
place
there is.
usually. You know,
Normally,
that's what we were so sad
we
about.
were shocked that
you
we didn't
know,
find
because
what we
there's
normally
usually
do.
nice things about every place, and I think that's what it's left us with, is that if people are in that situation and that annoyed or struggling that much or taking substances or walking around with drinks, and it really were at a point of where I've never seen it anywhere else that bad.
We couldn't even film it.
No,
because we didn't want to be
bad.
camera in somebody's face, but there were a lot of people.
But if they're at that point, then you've got to
drinks.
start asking why, and you've got to start saying, well, you know, that's it's not us and them. Do you know, we're all a part of the same country. Do you know, we're all together.
Absolutely.
And so if it's their problem, it's our problem, and so it all needs to be sorted out.
You can't bury your head in the sand.
No.
And as you know, a relatively small channel, but a channel nonetheless, we need to sometimes speak out when we notice things are not okay. You know, that's part of doing YouTube, isn't it, I guess, is to kind of start conversations and encourage positivity within the country and all that kind of stuff without getting deep into politics. But that's basically been your Fireside Friday. And on Tuesday, we're going to do something that people have been asking us to do. It's ridiculous. Emma's giggling already.
Oh.
It's a bit ridiculous, is this idea that we've got. But we're gonna
bit.
basically.
A bit.
Yeah, it is.
a bit.
It's so, you know, the yellow signs, the yellow motorhome signs.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. Don't tell them. They can't know yet.
We'll see you on Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Write your own story. And thank you for watching.